All right, welcome back, everybody. Today is a big day for South Africa's Parliament. It's going to be the debate, the 8th motion of no confidence against President Jacob Zuma. The EFF, together with the DA, the IFP, COPE and other opposition parties, are calling on ministers of Parliament to vote Zuma out in the motion of no confidence, while the regional ANC will march in support of the president. Cape Town is really going to be the focal point of protesters today, as thousands will be taking to the streets for multiple marches. But in fact, it's already started around, we can see here in Johannesburg, in Tshwane, Ekurhuleni as well. There's been marches all over, not marches, but protest action that the police are linking to this vote of no confidence. Roads in and around Gauteng have been closed and certainly have been affected by these protests of burning tyres. But let's talk to our political analysts that are with us. They've been with us at 6 o'clock this morning. Professor Susan Booysen from the Wits School of Governance and Professor Sipho Seepe. Good to have you guys talking to us once again. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of what we can expect today. So, Susan, if I may begin with you. We obviously have X amount of members. We've got 400 members of Parliament. Now, talk to me about how many votes we need to have the vote of no confidence successful. And with all opposition parties, are we expecting them to vote with the grain of other opposition parties?
Yes, certainly. ANC, of course, 249 MPs, opposition jointly 151. And so the ANC needs technically about 50 to cross, of its members to cross and vote in favour of the motion of no confidence. However, not all opposition parties are equally certain to be on that side. Some, for example, the African Independent Congress, the NFP, slightly uncertain. PAC has said they will not vote. The APC, we are not, just one, we're not entirely sure about. So probably more of those, around 60, maybe 70 ANC MPs would have to switch. We also know, of course, we don't know exact numbers, but some people may be off sick. We know 2 MPs are, I think, still hospitalized after an accident last week. And one opposition, one ANC, say maybe others who are travelling, etc., couldn't change. So it is not that clear-cut exactly how many need to cross over. We know it is a handful who ANC people who publicly have said, yes, they are against the president. Only a few have said they will be, like Dr. Makosa, she's probably the only one who has specifically said she will support a motion of no confidence. So it's not clear-cut, but there are technicalities. People have to cross over. Even ANC people within the dissenting camp are not entirely sure that they will make that level of crossover. And we know the SACP, they've emphasized, whereas they as party may be opposed to the president, want him to step down to fall, their MPs are there as ANC MPs, and they would be subject to those discussions that the ANC has had, and we have seen that the ANC has gone in thoroughly, boots and all, delegitimated a support for the motion in terms of regime change, all these highly derogatory terms, which made it clear to their MPs they would be crossing the line and would be subject to discipline should they be identifiable, which of course the secret ballot helps veil, but still it is known within the party who are against the president.
It is, but when it comes down to a secret ballot and nobody is watching over your shoulder, and perhaps your true colours come through.
Got some protection.
Yeah. I mean, from your perspective. So let's also, we'll get into that, but I want to talk a little bit about abstentions as well, because the safe road to play would be to say, I am not voting. How is this going to affect the vote?
Well, I don't think members of the ANC would be choosing the notion of I'm not going to be voting. They are going to take a position. Either they're going to say the president must go or he should not go. But what's important is the point that Susan is trying to raise, the sophistication around the politics. Because if you listen to Jackson is also one of those people who had also said the president must go. But what he has also said that it will be the ANC that will remove him. And that's the same position that people like Jeremy Cronin had said, that we are going to we're not going to outsource that responsibility. So in as much as there may be a large number or a number that may be opposed to the president, they are also well aware that this is about collapsing the ANC government. And if you listen to even the DA, when Musi spoke, Musi was very clear that no, this is not only about Jacob Zuma, it's about the fall of the ANC. And Malema has also made the same. So I think members of the ANC are alive to that possibility that this is the beginning of the end. And the question is that do you want to be part of that? But at the same time, as Holomisa's entry is much more cleverer, because he says to members of the ANC, this is not about the regime change. It's about removing one person. But if you look at the numbers that are in the streets, what you can actually say is that the ANC has spent most of its time inward looking. It has not paid attention to what is happening on the ground. I mean, if you look at since last year, most of the discussion was more about their internal politics rather than to connect. And listening to the EFF fellow, he says that there are about 212 marches that are organized.
Yes.
That means he's saying we are on the ground. And what has the ANC been doing? It's been dealing with the veterans. It's been dealing with infighting within themselves. So they one could actually say they may have lost the plot. Yeah. But what you saw Jackson and others saying, it's also an element of a degree of panic. But I do think that the only thing that will save them, first, SACP, this argument that says, because some people thought SACP would decide to say, let's be consistent, because they've shown great boldness in saying the president must go. But when it comes to voting, they've said, no, we are not going to allow the opposition or fall into the agenda of the opposition. So it will be a very tricky number to get those numbers. I mean, at least I would say they need about 60 members. But when you listen to Holomisa says this project does not start now. It's a project that they have been working on since April. Yeah. And most importantly, I do remember also how the ANC lost Nelson Mandela. Trollip said, no, while the ANC was busy rushing 3 months before elections, they had been on that project for almost a year. So I don't know whether today it will be a repeat of the same. Yeah. But ultimately, it's politics. What is good about it is that it's provided for in our constitution, it's in our democracy. Yeah. So there's nothing outside it. Even the marches, they are part of our expression of the democratic right.
The people's democratic right to express this. We're going to take a break. Susanna, I'm going to come back to you because I'm quite curious to know how it's going to work today. I mean, we've seen it previous times, and we've seen this happen 7 times against our president, the vote of no confidence, but it's been an electronic vote. It's been open, and people have decided with their name how they want to vote. This time, it's very, very different. Let's quickly take a break. We'll have more analysis and perhaps some predictions after this. Do stay tuned.